Hey, beautiful soul. You're listening to the Rising into Mindful Motherhood podcast, your weekly dose of fertility wisdom. I'm your host, Dr. Katie Wood. I'm a barefoot mama bear, pharmacist, and integrative fertility coach. This is your go-to podcast for all things to naturally nourish your fertility, embody womb healing, and reclaim your feminine power to accelerate your path to pregnancy. My expert guests and I will be having intentional conversations to discuss the many facets of a thriving, fertile foundation, natural wellness, and how we grow and transform as women on our journey to motherhood. So let's dive in, shall we? Hello and welcome to Rising into Mindful Motherhood. I'm super excited to have you here, and this episode was actually inspired by an interview I had on another fertility podcast where we talked about shame. So shame is very pervasive in the fertility journey. I know for me personally, I experienced shame. I know my clients have experienced shame. And I know that many women on their fertility journey may not even realize that it is shame that they're experiencing. They are feeling other emotions, but really what is at the root of it is shame. So we're going to go into that and discuss how shame can really shape and play a role in your fertility journey. So we are all energy beings. Everything is made of energy. Even my mouse here is made of energy. Our thoughts are made of energy. Our feelings, our emotions, they are meant to be in motion. That is how we release them. But when it comes to shame, typically that is something that we are repressing and holding on to, and it's laying dormant in like dark areas of our body. I once had a coach that told me that once you shed light on shame, it can no longer hide. And that always stuck with me. We all experience things as children, which evoked an emotion, and we weren't given the proper tools on how to acknowledge and move through emotions as they're coming up for us as children. A lot of times we were shushed or told to stop crying or told to stop behaving in a certain way, be a good girl, listen, sit there and be quiet. So what we learned was to suppress these emotions, right? Choke back your tears. Cut it off. Put a kink in that energy hose, so to say, which allows things to get stuck in our body because we're not letting it come out of us and free flow and express our emotion in a safe way, right? We weren't taught how to do that. So what happens is these really, really dense, strong emotions get stuck in our body and in our energy field, and they create distortions in our energy body. And then eventually those show up as physical symptoms, right? Our subconscious mind creates a program because going back, we experienced something that evoked an emotion, and our subconscious creates a program. So if a similar situation were to occur, our body will know how to react in order to survive, in order to have our needs met. This is an example, not fertility related, but probably a common example that people experience as a child. Perhaps you had a parent, a family member, maybe even a teacher yell at you, scream at you, scolded you, and you felt fear in your body, and you made yourself smaller and quieter so you wouldn't get in trouble, so you wouldn't feel that sense of fear and worry for your safety. So our subconscious creates a program, which then creates a pattern for us trying to protect us, right? So there's something called the David Hawkins scale of consciousness, and I actually want to show you. So I'm going to share my screen. So as you can see on the scale of consciousness, this is all different levels of consciousness, and then different levels of your frequency, your vibration, right? Your vibration right here, your energetic frequency. And shame is on the bottom. Shame is the lowest level vibration and frequency that we can feel. And then if you look over here, it's our lower ego self. It is considered hell, like the lowest of the low. So that is why it's so important to shine light on our shame, and then it can no longer hide. And when you have the right tools and you can acknowledge it and process it and release it, that is going to make your body feel so much lighter. You're going to be able to just move and glide through your fertility journey in such a new light. You're going to feel like a different person, a happier person, a more connected person. So if you look as we go up, right, even fear is higher than shame, anger, because when you're feeling anger, you typically are wanting to take action, be in motion. Again, like I mentioned in the beginning, emotions are meant to be in motion. And when we're feeling shame, it's more like wanting to put like a blanket over your head and get in the fetal position in like the dark corner of a room. You don't want it to be seen by yourself or by others. And then as you get up, courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, right? The self-empowerment. And then obviously at the very, very top, full consciousness. That's somewhere where like Gandhi or monks would be, right? But we can bring ourselves up into this higher vibrational state, inner light, inner wisdom, inner love, oneness. Understanding and truly accepting your truth that you are whole. You are already whole. You are inherently worthy with or without the things that you desire. And that includes having a child. You are whole. We need to find that love within ourselves. So going back to shame, I know for me personally, I had felt a lot of shame. And really it felt to me, I know that it was shame now, but in the moment, and not even in the moment, like after the fact and after reflecting, it felt like a fear of failure. So when I wasn't getting pregnant in my body, I was striving so hard to get pregnant because like inside my body, there was this like deep, deep fear of failing. I am a very determined, motivated person. I typically always did well in school, didn't always have to work hard to do well in school. It just came naturally. Graduated high school with a really good GPA and a bunch of different clubs and then going to pharmacy school and just all of these things, all of these high achievements. But why? right? Why was that so important to me? And my parents are divorced. They divorced when I was about 5 or 6. So I think as a child, being in a split home and just experiencing that, you do what you feel is necessary to receive, acknowledge, to do what you think you need to do, right? And this is the subconscious creating a program. So somewhere in my childhood, I felt like I needed to do good and succeed and achieve things to receive love, acknowledgement, attention, whatever it was. At some point, I must have received all of those things. And then in my subconscious mind, it was like, oh, okay, when I achieve this, I get all of this. Oh my gosh, good job, Katie. So proud of you. All of this acknowledgement, attention, extra love, whatever it may be. That's like just a perfect example. Your subconscious mind is that it's, aha, so this is what I have to do so that I can receive this and feel this way. So that created a pattern for me. And when I wasn't getting pregnant in the same way that I achieved other things, right? Study, do your research, do the work, get a good grade, right? It wasn't working out that way. And that was very frustrating. But really, at the core of it was a lot of shame of feeling unworthy, unworthy of receiving love and all of those things. And then I see a lot of shame coming up. I had the same things, and I just see them commonly in Facebook groups, in my community, in my fertility community, and in my clients. Shame around our period, shame around not conceiving on a certain timeline, shame around, and this is like a vicious cycle, seeing pregnancy announcements in our minds. We want to be happy for them, but we're feeling whether it's anger, resentment, and then we feel shameful because we are not happy for them and we feel bad and wrong for that, right? I see so many women commenting about that. Oh, so and so posted their pregnancy announcement, and I know I should be happy for them, but I'm not, and I feel terrible. And it's just this vicious cycle. So there is a way that I take myself through and I take my clients through to help them release, neutralize shame, release other subconscious programs and patterns that are no longer serving them. And it's a 4-step womb work process. So step 1 is notice the pattern. So our life that we are living is always, always, always mirroring to us places that are ready to be healed. And a lot of times we don't consciously realize this. We don't have the awareness to realize this. But when you can begin to become curious, that's when you can start noticing things. So here's a pretty easy example. You continue to get in the same argument with your partner over and over and over again. Let's just say it's about him always being on his phone when you're talking to him, and you want him to put his phone down and have a face-to-face conversation with you, or he's always on his phone and never present, right? You know, another way to break down how to notice the pattern is, where is the problem? Where are things not working? What do you want that you're trying hard to get? So the pattern is you and your partner keep getting in the same argument about him always being on his phone and not being present. So step number 2 is we want to neutralize the ego, the shame. Because if we go into a downward spiral and just kind of like re-shame ourselves about the situation, it's going to make it even worse. So we want to neutralize it. And this is where we have to take radical responsibility for our actions, for ourselves. Who or what am I wanting to blame? How am I shaming myself? These are questions we can ask. So back to that example, I'm wanting to blame my partner for not being present while we're together. Okay. Step 3, observe and be curious. Be curious without judgment for yourself. How does this pattern make sense? I'm trying to piece together why the subconscious mind programmed this pattern. I think I might get so triggered about my husband not being present and being on his phone because when I was a child, it was really hard to get my parents' full attention. And that was frustrating for me as a child. And I didn't know how to use my voice to express that. So now it is showing up for you as an adult in your relationship. And the argument keeps happening because you haven't healed that underlying wound of not feeling seen and heard as a child. It seems so simple, and it can be. It gets to be easy and it gets to be simple. And you get to live your life in harmony and not in that hell space, in a self-empowerment, self-love. Step 4 is heal and integrate. So this is where I'll take myself or I'll take my clients through a potent, beautiful healing practice. And this is where we're going to work through it and release, and then we integrate. So you get to decide, how am I going to move forward now? Instead of getting in the argument with my husband and then slamming the door and walking away because he just doesn't get it, I'm going to take a breath, sit down with him, hold his hands, right? Then he can't be on his phone. Hold his hands, be present myself with him, and explain to him why and how important it is to me to have this deep one-on-one connection with each other instead of having our faces in our phones and like half paying attention when we're communicating with each other. And then maybe he'll actually get it because we're not elevating our voice or screaming or slamming doors or walking away because the situation is getting too heated or too uncomfortable. And then this is how we get to shine a light, right? Going inside of our bodies and almost being like investigators, shining a light on shame, on these dense, heavy emotions that leave you feeling heavy. They leave you feeling imbalanced and maybe not even like yourself. Maybe you haven't been feeling like yourself on your fertility journey. And a lot of it could be these stagnant emotions that are ready to be released. You just don't have the tools on how to do that. So check out the David Hawkins scale of consciousness. Look at it a little bit closer for yourself. It's actually quite fascinating and it makes sense. And when you're able to release these heavy emotions, your body, your energy, your physical body, your energy body, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, everything is going to be vibrating at a higher frequency automatically. And it's just because you released these dense feelings and emotions. That's all you had to do. And then you will automatically be vibrating at a higher frequency. So if you're interested on how you can do this for yourself, like you just haven't been feeling like yourself, you're not feeling as good as you can, and you know that you've got some deep-seated emotions, you've tried talk therapy, you've maybe even tried medications, and nothing has helped. Nothing has helped. This is a way that we can free you of these dense emotions and help you feel like yourself again, and feel that inner sense of calm and peace and knowing and trust on your journey to motherhood, because it is there and it is available to you. It's not it's only available for her because she's wealthy, or it's only available to her because they're married and I'm a single mom by choice. No, it is available to everyone. This peace, this inner love, this inner knowing, this neutrality. So reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is in the show notes at _wellness_pharmacist. We can chat about how this can help you step into the next level, next version of yourself on your fertility journey, so you can conceive with so much ease. It can feel effortless. It doesn't have to feel so hard. It doesn't have to feel so negative and dark and dreary. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And if you can just look at all of this, how our life is mirroring to us ways that we can heal, look at it as a beautiful opportunity. When you release these energies that are weighing you down, you're not just releasing it for yourself, you're releasing it for your future child as well. Because when you don't release it, that's going to be imprinted on your children's DNA, and it's going to be left for them to deal with in their lifetime. So there's just so much benefit to doing this. And I just find this topic really fascinating because a lot of us, we just weren't given the tools growing up, and it's no shame on our parents. They did the best that they could. They did what they knew, right? Which was however they were raised. And we are in a different generation. We have so much access to knowledge and ways to empower ourselves at our fingertips. And it's a beautiful time to be alive. So just taking advantage of that. But I hope that this episode gave you like an aha moment. I would love to hear about it. Please reach out if you have any more questions, any thoughts, or anything that you want to share. And I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Rising into Mindful Motherhood podcast. If this episode resonated with you or gave you an aha moment, stop what you're doing right now and write a review. This simple act of kindness helps me get this podcast out to connect with as many women as I possibly can. I also have a special offer. If you send me a screenshot of your review, I will take $250 off one of my premium coaching containers. Let me know what resonated with you the most and why. So connect with me in my free Facebook community or tag me on Instagram. You'll find both listed below. Thanks again from the bottom of my heart for tuning in to this episode, and I'll see you next time.